Hello everyone, welcome. We are going to teach you everything you need to know about how to move the best way possible in the Phoenix update for Population 1. First off, a lot of movement changes have happened. Now, there's 3 forms of movement. You can walk, there's no footsteps, so this is what you're going to want to use in the close range so your enemy can't hear you. I press my sprint button once and I will jog, and I press it again, I will sprint. Okay, I'll do that again. Walking, jogging. You'll notice on the jogging, I can see the sprint bar at the bottom and there's a little bit of white, and I press it one more time, and then now I am sprinting, okay? How to do these things really well, okay? First off, you know how to do it, but I want to save you money now, okay? I'm going to save you money in broken controllers. I have spent $2,000 on controllers, more than that actually, just $2,000 on index controllers. I'm on my 7th pair of index controllers. What breaks first? It's always the left analog joystick. And if you are spamming down on that analog joystick like I am now to trigger that sprint or that run, I guarantee you, you will break your joystick within 1 month time. Okay, and then you're gonna have to buy new controllers. So the first thing you're gonna do, if you are on Quest 2 or Quest 3, you're gonna go to Settings, Locomotion. You're going to click on Use Grip Button to sprint, and that is going to make sprinting so much easier for you, and you're going to save money. So I don't have a grip button. I'm on Valve Index, so it's just like the handle. But you will press down on your grip button once to jog, press it again to run. Okay, and that is going to save you mad money. All right, period. The best way possible to do this now is playing through Steam VR. I can go to, when I press my thing, I can go here to my settings and go edit my controller binding on Steam VR through PC VR, as in my device is plugged into a computer. And then instead of having my trigger, which was shoot, it said shoot here as my trigger, I changed my trigger to reload. So again, change your, here, so I click here and I can just click on this, and it was on shoot, but I changed it to reload, and that's the sprint, okay? Because if I go down to my thumbstick, when I click down, it says reload. That was the sprint button for the index controller, okay? You might be able to do this on a Quest 2 plugged into PC VR. I cannot confirm. Maybe someone in the comments can. But this is the best way, at least for me, because it's so easier for me to press this now when it's on my... Oh, I got to turn off I got to turn it off in locomotion for it to work just right. But it's so much easier for me to toggle between sprinting and jogging here when I have my trigger set to the sprint. But the problem is I can't shoot two-handed weapons anymore, like the Matadors and the Uzis. I can't use those because I can't fire the weapon. But it doesn't matter because those weapons are trash anyways, all right? So the good news is I'm really happy, and I've been doing this for a few hours now with my trigger being the sprint button, okay? So that's just a fine point. Now, a couple things you have to know. First off, you can only sprint or jog in the forward direction, holding your left analog forward, okay? I cannot strafe side to side and sprint or jog. Doesn't work, all right? So you cannot strafe and get some mad strafing with Pika's advantage while sprinting. Doesn't work like that, okay? But you can sprint and use your right analog to navigate yourself around, or just look around, okay, to move. I don't want to make you dizzy. So know that you can steer by obviously just turning your head or turning your analog with snap turn or smooth turn. Now, if you are new to Pop 1, first off, I would recommend going to local motion and making your forward motion head relative. And that means that wherever you look, you will move. And there are certain techniques, movement techniques, that you cannot do if you don't have that set, because that's very important to have, all right? And I also play on smooth turn. Again, right here. I'd recommend turning that on and just getting used to it. Turning this up to 360 analog control. Turn off ease in and turn off the comfort vignette. That's trash, all right, for you newer players, all right? So we got the basics down on the movement, all right? Now let's add a fine tip, okay? Now, one thing you cannot do while you sprint is fire, and you cannot do it while you're jogging as well. So jogging, you see my sprint bar? It goes off as soon as I fire a bullet. Again, I'm sprinting. It disappears. So as soon as you fire, your sprint or your jog will be removed, all right? And you'll lose movement speed. So know that, all right? So, and it goes away, all right? Now, One extra tip that makes bananas really, really nice is that when I sprint and my bar is draining, watch my banana peel. I can not only peel the banana while it's going, but it charges my bar up to full. Yep. And no, it doesn't take me out of the sprint. So know that you can eat the banana and it will not take you out of the sprint. So you can just hold that sprint while you're chugging bananas. So let's see what for funsies. Let's see how long I can keep this up just for funsies for YouTube. Running. Fast as F, bro. Oh, I lost it. I that was me. That was me. It's not the game. And I can keep going as long as I have bananas, right? And I'm moving like Sonic the Hedgehog, something really fast, all right? So that's crazy. So know that bananas recharge. Now, know that sprinting is technically pretty much the same speed as when you fly, okay? Now, if you didn't know before and you're new to the game, for example, when you just walked on the floor, we call it ground walking, it's much slower than flying. So the old meta was you fly, you grab, you fly, or you throw forward, and I'll tell you that in a little bit, and you move forward, okay? But now, since sprinting is just as fast as flying, the problem with flying is that you have to grab to throw, right? That takes time too. And so sprinting is actually just slightly faster than flying because of that grab, because you can just click and you're moving, okay, since it's the same speed. So sprinting is roughly equivalent to flying, but technically faster if you don't have to grab the wall. 3, 2, 1, go. Damn, that's equivalent, right? Good to know, all right? So how should you move in a real game? So in a real game, the meta for how to move as fast as possible is you're really always going to want to be jogging. Okay, so you click your sprint button once, you're always going to be jogging. You just want to hold that down always. You really don't want to be walking ever, right? So I'm jogging at all times if possible, right? Because that's just faster. And I'm jogging and my sprint bar is still good, right? So that's really should be the standard, all right? But that's not. Walking is the standard. But to move as fast as possible, you're going to want to do this. And you are going to cover so much ground in the map. You're going to want to sprint. And as soon as your sprint bar is getting low, guess what you do? You climb up something. You fly. And by the time I touch this floor, watch, I'm going to sprint it. And look, my sprint bar is up 60%. As soon as it's low, boom, I climb something. And by the time I get to the floor, it's going to be up again. And I'm out of here. I'm just running laps around this course. Look, 80%. So you have to time. When you're running on a sprint, boom. Fly, about 2-ish nice flies, and I got 30% speed bar. So I got to the next object, fly, sprint. See, this is the pattern you're going to do. So you got to get used to that movement. It took me, honestly, an hour, and I'm still not used to it. This is how you got to move at all times in game if you want to be fast. And you want to be fast because the faster you are, the better fighter you are. Why? Because you can run away from a fight if things ain't going your way, and you can engage on a fight if you can chase the person down, or you can start the fight, engage the fight, right? So you can run away and start the fights if you are faster than your enemy. I learned that in Dragon Ball Z. The quote was like, I think Krillin in Dragon Ball Z was like, we got to run away. And then I think Piccolo was like, you can't run from him. He's stronger and faster than us. Anyways, like the bigger, stronger fighters are generally going to be faster, right? So you got to know how to do this, all right? You got to get used to this kind of rhythm of once that bar just naturally kind of goes down, just grabbing something flying, tapping it again, fly. And this is the speed on how to move really fast, okay? So that's maximal speed, right? Period. Now, I'm going to teach you some movement tricks that I never really showed before because I really only kind of did it in paid coaching, but here I am showing you because why not, right? This game needs the boost right now. So to climb as fast as possible, you don't just there's a way to do it to climb as fast as possible. I'll hold this way so you can see it. So there's 2 movements that I do into one movement. So when I do it, it's kind of hard when you see a black here. Let me do it on here so you can see how fast I'm going. When you're just seeing a black wall, it doesn't make any sense. So when I do it, I go, oh, that wasn't good. See that? And I go up really far off of one climb. So I try and go as grab. And I got, oh, that wasn't there. There we go. Now what I'm doing is, oh, I'm not doing it very well. There we go. So what I'm doing now is I'm merging two movements into one. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm going full arm extension, and my arm goes down to the floor. Okay. So up and down, and I'm grabbing with the grip button, releasing. That's the first movement. Now, if I do it really well and I time it really well, what I'm also adding in is a wrist flick. My wrist starts up, and then my wrist flicks down. So I'm adding that in while I'm throwing down. So wrist flicks down at the same time my arm goes down. So I'm getting two movements into one, okay? So that I don't have to throw as hard to get that full extension. There's a threshold where no matter how hard you throw, you're not going any faster, okay? But having that wrist flick really, really helps so you don't have to throw your shoulder out and pull down really hard, okay? So wrist flick plus arm extension into one, grab, release, grab, release as soon as you throw, release and throw vertically up, okay, and grab again. Now, if you're on a Quest 2, the Quest 2 has the best movement capability if you do not know, because the tracking is not so good that they have algorithm boost to help you. So that honestly, when I was on a Quest 2, I could just do wrist flick and elbow extension. So my elbow would extend and wrist flick, and I was getting the maximal speed. This is really hard for me to do on a Valve Index and get the maximal speed. You can do it, but it's not easy, okay? So know that on the Quest 2, you really can like flick just your wrist. Quest 3, unfortunately, it's harder to climb. So if you have a Quest 3, it doesn't work like that, okay? So those are the differences there. So that's how to vertically climb. How to climb as fast as possible is two hands, so that you're constantly going up, and I just scaled that building really fast, right? Just pulling, constantly throwing as fast as you can, adding in both those techniques, right? That was fall damage. Hilarious. Fall damage, a new thing they added to the game. All right, so that's how to climb, all right? Now, I will show you how to fly effectively, all right? Let's wait for this timer to go out. Now, how to fly effectively is instead of just going like this and flying, throwing upwards and flying, that's too slow, and I'm exposed to getting shot. No, what I want to do is I want to actually throw forward and flying. Grab, throw forward that way, horizontal in a straight line. Grab and forward, and a little bit upwards maybe, but not a whole lot. And if you want to do it really well, you can actually throw downwards a little bit, just as long as you're not throwing up too high, okay? Because you're going to get shot and it's too slow. So, but I can go like this, and if you watched my character model, it almost looks like I'm just flying in a straight line. So I'm grabbing and releasing. Here, let me get up. I'll go in like a straight line here. I grab high, and I throw kind of forward. Grab high, throw forward. Grab high, throw forward. And I'm pretty much going in a straight line all the way across that, right? And I'm going really fast. And I can do it on these tankers too. See that? I flick my wrist. A lot of wrist. Your wrist grabs, flicks straight behind me with a little bit of arm extension too. Or a lot of bit of arm extension. My arm ends pretty much backwards, right? You can kind of see here. Yeah. So that's how to do that really well. And you're going to left side. Right? Okay. So that's how to fly horizontally as fast as possible and efficiently as possible and as safe as possible. Now, I teach you the wall ride. Okay, let's choose a nice wall for this one. Okay, maybe this will work. Okay, so now I teach you the wall ride. So on the wall ride, I'm going to be able to ride this and constantly fly almost without touching anything. See that? I was able to fly across that whole thing without touching anything. So what I did was, there's a few ways you can do this. You just want to fly out for a little bit until your character model's like chest is about like right parallel here. Even though it feels like you're too low, you can still clip up into it. See that? And I'll try and go as low as I can. See, I can still clip up into it. Pretty much is if it gets higher than your character model's neck, or where it feels like your neck is, then you can still clip into it. See? All you got to do is fly back into the wall. So you can do that by turning your left joystick into the wall. So you're kind of doing like half circles with your left joystick. Or if you have head relative, you can look into. So I'll just hold forward on my analog. I can just look into it with my head a little bit. I just turn my head into it. And I can twist my torso and my arms too, just to get my head, kind of nice in it. Smooth. So in a real game, I'll kind of mix it up and do everything. But you can do it with just the analog. And that's called the wall ride. So I'm really moving fast across the whole thing. I don't really need to sprint there, right? Because I'm just flying the whole way. Using the hard cover, I call this the hard cover, using that ledge to fly off of. And I can do it off anything. So I can do it off this ledge right here. See that? I'm just using these ledges to fly, and I don't have to grab anything. See that? So I was able to go all the way from there to here without touching anything, and pure flying almost the whole way. That is how you ride the wall. Okay, now we're going to go over the dive. Okay, they added a dive mechanic to this game. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold forward on your analog, or you will not be able to dive, and then you're just going to double tap your sprint button like you were going to sprint. So I'm off the wall. Now I bring my arms in. And see that? Oh, and I want to save myself and open my arms before I die, because I will die. All right. So we'll do that one last time. So again, you have to, I would even look down, but make sure you have your arms into your side. You double tap that sprint button, and then you make sure you open your arms up to fly before you touch the floor. You will die, but you have to make sure you're holding forward on the analog, okay? The left analog joystick. Yep. Okay. So on the dive doesn't kick in until you're about right this distance, okay? Like I have to be this high from something for a dive to work, okay? So from here, like I'll dive right before I hit the ground. See that? My arms went down into the dive right there before I hit the floor. About right here, a little higher would be even better, so you have to be pretty dang high. See that? So you got to trust it. Just double tap it and hold it. Just trust that it will kick in. It takes a good amount of time to kick into that dive, but trust that it will happen, okay? And so off the hot drop, just double click and hold and trust it. I know that the first couple of times I just kept tapping it. I was like, why am I not diving? Just double tap and hold it, and it'll kick in, okay? Trust it. If you're high enough, as in about as high as that spray, you hold sprint off the ledge, and you can just immediately go into the dive. I was holding down the sprint button that whole time. So you don't have to double press it again when you're off the ledge, if that makes sense. So that's a nice trick. I know that, of course, you can also build while you are sprinting. All right. So good tip to know, all right, to be really safe. All right, so I think we covered everything in this video, all right? We taught you how to, work those new mechanics, how you should be moving through it all, taught you how to climb, taught you how to fly. So that's pretty much everything all packed into one video. Hope you enjoyed this. If you learned something, like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. But otherwise, I'll see you in game. Pinkpwnage out.